Excellent.
Yes.
Calling to order the Warrenville Public Library District regular meeting of the Board of Trustees. It's Wednesday, February 21st, and it is 7:03 p.m. We're going to do a roll call. Trustee Stahl, present. Trustee Warren,
Present.
Trustee Richardson, here. Trustee Schmidt,
Here.
Trustee Pika,
Present.
Trustee Lazan,
Here.
Trustee DeRocher is here, Executive Director Stolman, and all of our wonderful department heads. We have a motion for our approval of the agenda. We need to make any changes. Depends on what we're doing with the closed session. We don't need a closed session, do we?
No. So we are technically in a discussion. And moving to closed session and move action item number 20 to the regular agenda.
Okay. So what we normally do.
Yes,
Yeah.
except there's an additional
That's
item this
fine.
year, which is
Right.
the closed
Oh.
session minutes, so we can review that to change that from item 20
Okay.
to 8C.
All right, so,
Sorry.
can you just speak, if everybody could go to the last page of your agenda. Jason is saying that the last, that the closed session minutes can be added as an item 8C that we can discuss. If we're okay with that, we don't need to go into closed session. Is everyone good with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so we're gonna make that change. We're gonna strike, number 20 and make an additional 8C item, which is going to be closed session. All right, could I have a motion, please?
I move that we approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion was made by trustee Stahl and seconded by trustee Pika. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? All right, the agenda is approved. We have no presentations? No public comments? Correspondence? No, moving right along. Trustee Stahl, we're at the number 7 already.
Approve minutes of the January 17th, 2024 regular board meeting. Item B, receive and file financial report for January 2024. C, approve updated policy number 150, Open Meetings Act.
All
I
right,
move that we
thank you.
approve the consent agenda as read by the secretary. Second.
So the motion was made by trustee Pika and seconded by trustee Warren. Trustee Lazan.
Aye.
Trustee Pika.
Aye.
Trustee Schmidt.
Aye.
Trustee Richardson. Aye. Trustee Warren.
Aye.
Trustee Stahl.
Aye.
Trustee DeRocher votes aye. Okay, moving on to regular agenda item A. Can I have a motion, please?
I move that we approve payments in the amount of $65,966.93 for the period of January 18th, 2024 through January, I don't know what this March. Hold on.
March?
Yeah, this,
Oh,
hold
yeah,
on.
no, it should be February. I'm trying to get a month ahead.
I'm reading here. The amount is $65,966.93 for the period of January 18th, is that good?
Yes, 18.
2024 through February 21st, 2024, including electronic payments and checks 9787 through 9831.
Thank you so much.
I second that.
Motion was
Don't try
made.
and read it, Joe.
That's why I have these.
A wonderful effort was made by trustee Pika on our motion and seconded by trustee Richardson. Trustee Lazan.
Aye.
Trustee Pika.
Aye.
Trustee Schmidt.
Aye.
Trustee Richardson.
Aye.
Trustee Warren.
Aye.
Trustee Spell. Aye. And trustee DeRocher votes aye. Okay, moving on to item 8B.
Okay, I got this one, it's easy. I move that we transfer $150,000 from the commercial checking account to our operating account.
I see.
Excellent. Motion was made by trustee Pika and seconded by trustee Warren. We'll go this way. Trustee Stoll. Aye. Trustee Warren.
Aye.
Trustee Richardson.
Aye.
Trustee Schmidt.
Aye.
Trustee Pika.
Aye.
Trustee Lazan.
Aye.
Trustee DeRosa votes aye. Motion passes. All right, now we're going to the closed session minutes.
I move to keep closed all closed session minutes that currently remain closed.
Second.
Motion was made by trustee Stoll and seconded by trustee Lazan. That could be a voice vote, yes?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed or abstaining? All right, motion passes. Moving on to unfinished business, the all important air conditioning screen project. Let's hear more about that. Jason, take it away.
All right, so I submitted the paperwork for our permit application and they approved it, so we have our permit. Huzzah. Top rail fence is going to start work on March 7th. I don't know if they can do it in one day or not. We're not, they didn't mention whether it's gonna take 1 day or 2 days or not, but they're starting on March 7th. I engaged Engineering Resource Associates to work on an updated plat of survey. So they were the ones that had done the plat of dedication that we did with the city. So I figured they would be familiar choice and the locals, if they're in Warrenville. So they are going to do that work. They're gonna lay out the boundary of the property line for the fencing folk, and then they'll come back so that they can also add in the fence. Because I was like, well, we want to do it so that we have the property line, but we're adding a new structure to the property, so it seems like that should get added too. So they're gonna come back and then they'll add the fence. So, and then do the, I had to ask them what the corner, property corner monuments. Yeah, so they're just little things set in the ground that apparently mark us. So anyway, and then we'll get paper copies and digital copies, which will be good because the old one is all paper. If you want a copy of that, I have to go down to our giant file drawer and take a picture of it. So we'll get digital copies, so that'll be good. So so they're gonna come to do the first part of the work before the fencing people start, and then we'll come back after the fence stuff. And then once we have the fence done, then we'll work with landscapers and figure out the right landscaping to soften the aesthetic. So, and maybe the noise, exactly. So in the meantime, I completely forgot that possibly to work into next year's budget, since part of the thing that initiated all this was the noise complaint, but we didn't end up wanting to spend the exorbitant amount of money for noise canceling absorbent wall. I did find, I don't know exactly what material it is, but kind of like big
Fabric.
blankety, fabricy
You can add to the inside.
things, like their examples on their website was like on construction walls
Okay.
to help dampen the sound. So, and those were, I think, like the 4x8 was maybe $200 and something. So it still could cost a couple $1,000s, but that's significantly cheaper than the, $70,000 that we would be.
And what do those get attached to the fencing?
So yeah, we could hang them on the inside of the fencing so that they wouldn't be an eyesore on the outside, but then hopefully they would help. So that's just an option. It was one quick search I did, so I don't know what all the options are out there, but I saw that one and I thought, oh, if we still are wanting to pursue trying to actually address the noise portion, then that is an option that we can do in the future that will much more work.
If for some reason there's still complaints about this, what do we do then?
And we hike up our efforts to do that.
Right. I mean, we could just not worry about it. We could put it in the budget just in case, but we could just assume we have addressed the code issue. We have put up the fence, we have put up landscaping, we have addressed what the city asked us to do. So then we can be it with it. And then if they come back with it's so noisy, we can say, well, we can try doing this instead.
Seasonal effect loops.
So, but we're on track. So we will definitely have it done by their May 31st deadline.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Great news. All right, that's just gonna go away.
I hope so.
All right, let's move on to new business. Approval of intergovernmental agreement with the city for Hibis art piece. Could I have a motion and then we'll do a discussion?
Move to approve the intergovernmental agreement with the city of Warrenville for the loan of an Albergese art piece to the library.
Oh,
A motion was made by trustee Stahl and seconded by trustee Warren. Now it's time for further discussion. Do we have anything to further discuss?
Well, I know I have a question.
Okay.
Well, so one of it is when it, under item D, routine cleaning and maintenance, and then, where it also talks about the damage to the artwork, item F. So where it says that it may be subject to gradual wear for the elements for which, how do you determine that versus if the city says, hey, you damaged it? I mean, because I guess then too, I wonder how our insurance is going to cover it. So, I mean, is this something we have to take out special insurance for?
I don't believe so. We, at some point, it may, I don't know if we need to update our art inventory and see if that's, make sure that's completely covered by our insurance, but I reached out to them and they just said, oh, it's just part of your general property. So I think it's covered under that umbrella.
It's not gonna be outside, so.
No, I think it was originally, you know, because I know last year or the year before, they did the outdoor displays, so they may have just built that in, just in case we don't put it where we had thought we were going to put it, so. Or if it was in a window and it was going to be subject to continual sunshine, then maybe it would fade a little bit, so. But I'm assuming they're gonna, you know, photograph and document it before they give it to us, so, or whatever. I mean, they didn't put a time frame on the loan, I'm presuming it's kind of an indefinite loan until they really want it back.
There is a time. It says 2029.
And then,
Because that was gonna be one of my questions is how.
well, I think for the
often-
IGA, and then it renews unless somebody says otherwise.
Yeah, because
Oh,
that
the
was one of my
IGA is-
original. 1 year.
I mean, the IGA is for the loan, but where was that? But yeah, I think it says, you know, then renews every year thereafter.
Right.
So I think. So maybe they'll want it back and that'll be fine. It's, they are buying it and paying for it, so it's very generous that they're letting us.
Do we know how often it has to be cleaned? I
don't
know it says at their direction, but I wondered how extensive and how expensive their cleaning could be.
I assume it's really just a matter of dusting it.
That's what I wanted to
I
hear.
don't, it's gonna be upward if people can't
Finger it.
finger it and touch it and get anything on it, so I think really it's just gonna be occasionally dusting. Yeah. So that's why I wasn't very concerned about the cleaning, is because I think it'll be very minimal.
So who's actually responsible for the installation? I mean, it says it's kind of like the city and the library or somebody.
I think in the end, they kind of wanted to, you know, approve where it's going, but we've already talked about it with them,
Okay.
because that'll be part of the design. But we, I believe, are ones responsible for the installation. But Lee, we asked Lee and he said he could hang it, so. He was
Right on about that.
right on about that, but we'll make it work one way or another.
And do we know the delivery date?
No, I am not even sure if the actual piece has been started yet. I think
Oh,
it's been
wow.
kind of waiting on this whole, I think they weren't expecting for the agreements with the DuPage Mexican Cultural Center. So all that negotiating to last as long as it did, so I think originally we were thinking, oh, sometime this spring, but I'm not
Oh,
even
yeah.
sure at this point that it's even been started, so
Maybe not.
I'm going to say in the fall at the earliest would be my guess.
Thank you.
Other questions or discussion? All right, let's go ahead and vote then. Intergovernmental agreement. Roll call. Trustee Lazan.
Aye.
Trustee Pika.
Aye.
Trustee Schmidt. Trustee Richardson.
Aye.
Trustee Warren.
Aye.
Trustee Stoll. Aye. Trustee Droz votes aye. So our intergovernmental agreement is approved, at least on our end. Okay. Let's go on to B, the intergovernmental agreement for social media archival. That is on page 25.
I move to approve the intergovernmental agreement with the city of Warrenville for the sharing of social media archival services.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion, that's the word I'm looking for. Motion was made by trustee Stahl and seconded by trustee Warren. We're gonna go ahead and have some discussion. Is there any questions around this intergovernmental agreement? I think it's great that we're gonna be able to share costs. Exactly how much are the costs that we're gonna have to share? Any idea? Is it based on a certain percentage of how much content we have?
I think I'm assuming it's based on probably the city size, because it was the city's account first, so I can't remember off the top of my head, it was like 3,100, and I don't remember if that was the total price or whether that was our half. But I was guessing this year. But that's, I think somewhere around 3,100 was what I put in the budget for this year. And if this is going to take place in May, then it will actually be out this fiscal year. So, but we have Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I guess we still have X, even though we're not actively posting, but we want to archive it. I think the city just has Facebook and I don't know what the other one is, but I think they have 2. So our portion will be slightly higher than theirs because we have. Yeah. Okay. But one way or another, it's
But we're
nice
still
to-
saving money. so,
We are, right.
you know, It's about.
That's great.
It'll definitely be, we have not logged in yet, so it's definitely will be a process and a learning curve for us. So we'll see how we like it. But
Are there other organizations that are doing this too, like the practice?
I'm not sure.
All right, any other questions? Or
Wait, that
discussion?
was a good question. If the park district does it, do they get into this same, or does our cost
That
reduce?
is a good question. I don't know. So
Well,
that,
because the park district has quite a bit of social media as well.
right.
Probably not
will-
as much as us, though. Well, I don't know. What do you think, Kathy?
They do not know.
They do
I
more?
would think they do.
Well, they might just want to have their own account, but anyway.
Well, then that may be the case.
I know they can do up to, I think they said it was up to 10 accounts. So maybe
Fire
between the 2 of us, if we have
Yeah.
6
fire
accounts, and
department.
maybe the other bodies adding them on would be exceed that. I'm not sure. But that is absolutely a question that I should ask them.
Yeah, because county just mentioned the fire department too.
Yeah.
They won't have quite as much social
Yeah, but-
media, but. Right. Okay. Well, it'd be good to know, and especially if we could do more cost sharing like that. So.
We can put it in the next.
The next 5 years.
Efficiency report. Our 5 year.
Write that down for the next 5 years.
That's a point.
Okay, I think we'll go ahead and vote unless there's other questions or any discussion. Nope. All right, trustee Stoll? Aye. Trustee Warren?
Aye.
Trustee Richardson?
Aye.
Trustee Schmidt? Aye. Trustee Pika?
Aye.
Trustee Lazan?
Aye.
And trustee DeRosa votes aye. So now we have 2 intergovernmental agreements. Yay. All right, now we're gonna get some information about library cards. So many policies, so little time.
Yes, indeed. Sorry, we've been working on these for a few months now. I would
Yeah, you-
bring it to
lots
management
and lots of
meetings
good
and
work
everybody would
done.
have lots of comments, so then I'd revise it, bring it back, and then there'd be more comments. So I appreciate everybody's input. So thank you all. So yeah, for the library cards, I think one of the initial things that we had started out wanting to look at this for was we were contemplating the idea of dropping the requirement to get a library card on your own be 16. But after we discussed it a lot more, we ended up deciding
21.
no, no, but keeping it the minors, those under 18, because we didn't want necessarily take away from parents' rights and
Right.
by the kids
Monitor, yeah.
and monitor. So we ended up doing that, but we still had other things that we had wanted to tweak. So there was, let's see. But we did add in, so we were wanting to make, so it was kind of this, we worked on this in conjunction with the public access computer policy. Because we wanted to make it a little easier for everybody getting a library card to approve their kids being able to use the computers. So before we had, oh, if you, in order to let your child use the computer, you had to fill out this and read this whole separate internet access or public access computer agreement.
Which was
Cumbersome. So we just thought we're going to revise the, upon approval of this, revise the application, and it'll just have a checkbox of
Nice.
yes, I approve, or yes, or no, I do not approve, and make it simpler. But essentially, we wanted to make it more towards you are opting out. And otherwise, you're automatically,
In.
your kid is going to have access.
Okay.
So
That's
make it so that you have to opt out.
So I had some questions. So under the
Sure.
Warrenville business card, and I
Yes.
see who has to present the information in order to get the business card. But does it need to list, say, employees that are allowed to use the card? So, or can anybody show up and with the business card and use it? I mean, I guess some of it, just in case, say, somebody's wife or somebody's kid, oh, I'll go use the card to go over to the library. In other words, authorized users of the business card versus unauthorized users. I mean,
I think, I guess at the moment, I'm trying to read
I mean,
this.
there's nothing in there that limits or states that, I mean, it states who's allowed to apply for the card, but it doesn't mention, again, who is allowed to use the card, I guess, and just in case somebody, say the business owner says, hey, I never authorized, employee A to be using the card, or these are things that I didn't authorize the employee to check out or something, I mean,
Then they got lost, now I have to pay.
right.
Seems like a lot
But
to
wouldn't
ask
that
of
be
the
the
front desk
businesses?
people.
Say again?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That seems a lot to ask of the people who check out. They have to.
Well, but again, if us as individuals are applying for a card, you know whose card it is. If it's a business card, ABC Printing, okay, well, how do you, somebody shows up with the ABC Printing card, they found it laying in the street.
Well, they
Well,
should have
you
taken
got
better
mine
care of
too.
their card.
It
Yeah.
does say the
Valuable
business
commodity.
owner is responsible for the
The
thieves.
same thing would happen if it was your card that fell in
Yeah.
the street and somebody picked it up and used it. Generally, possession of the card is presumption of permission to use it. But we don't check everybody all the time to say, oh, you're not.
You're not.
Right, well, I understand that, but I'm.
So that's basically, if they have a card, we are assuming that they have permission to use the card.
Okay.
How many business
That's a
cards do
fair
you think
assumption.
will have?
I can think of at least two right now that I know people, there's a daycare center and then Horizon, the property manager from Horizon over there wants to have a card
That
for.
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Uh,
and it's people
residents.
using the library.
Then where it says the card, student non-resident card, do they have to comply with all three of those conditions in order to get a card?
Yes.
So in other words, they have to prove that they're have a reduced price lunch, they're not, it's just not live in an area not served by a library or living within District 200's, attendance area. Is that
Because if
right?
they lived in our district, then they would just get a card for free
Right.
normally.
Well, like, for instance, I know,
She's
say,
asking
over
if
in
they have to be
Arrowhead is unincorporated Wheaton. That's an area that's not served by a library. They're not part of the Wheaton Library District. And so therefore, any of those kids in there, they're still within District 200, but I doubt they qualify for a free lunch.
Well, right, so part of the Cards for Kids Act was, I think it was intended for those that can't forward then the regular non-resident card.
Okay.
They did, I think there was a provision 2022, I'm trying to remember, where they opened it up to be any kids, so not living, so it would just be A and B essentially, so we wouldn't have to.
So they wouldn't have to necessarily prove that they qualified. That was just my point, because I was like,
So, but that was per library's discretion, so if we wanted to do that, we could do that, we could just say all children or K-12 students who live in an area not served by a public library, live within the boundaries of the school district, can get a card for free.
I don't think
Then
that's
you're
more.
basically saying every family who doesn't, because they'll all use their kids' cards. I mean, you will not have any of that.
Right, I mean, by their provisions, that is not supposed to be the case, but right, people do that. So. That is the, yeah, probably what might happen, but
So it's really, it's a philosophical thing. Are we wanting more people to have access
That's
who actually live in the school district? Or are we wanting, I mean, they're already paying, if they live in the school district, they're paying school taxes, but we aren't receiving them. Or is it more important to us to get the non-resident fees? Let's talk. What do we think, people?
Well, some of it is since I feel like it's if it's for the kids and they're using it again to check out materials for school, that's fine. I mean, I don't think they're gonna come in and start checking out adult materials so that they can take it home for their parents to use. I mean,
It will happen.
yeah, I'm
Oh,
sure,
yeah.
but I mean.
Mom will be like, pick up the.
Hey, while you're there.
It
Pick
might
up the new
be,
Nora Roberts.
it might be an experience-based decision. If you find that there's a lot of,
Abuse.
well, I don't know about
Yeah.
abuse, because you don't care as long as they get the material back, but if it starts
It's out of control.
bleeding materials that we should have on our shelves, then they can be tracked back to people that are iffy. And that could be a source, otherwise I think it'd be great to have that much circulation. Use it.
Yeah,
mean,
I agree.
I mean, I know how much I use the library, and yeah, I lived in a library district, you know, and I don't know, I guess if kids need the resources, that's my way of thinking, that's the only reason I would say that. I mean, again, if the family feels committed enough to the library, then yeah, they should pay the taxes, but I feel like for kids, for school,
I'd really like to hear everybody weigh in on this. What do you
I don't
think?
object to that at all. I mean, I could go either way, really. I just want us to think about what is the logical conclusion to this? And the logical conclusion to me is that families aren't gonna be paying that fee anymore, which is fine if we wanna go that way. But then people without kids will, and then what do we do?
Thoughts, Connie?
I don't feel that I want it to be the children who come to check out books, it has to be for school. I think for children to read, you know, for their personal
Period.
pleasure
Want
is
them to
fine.
We want them to be reading.
Yeah, so I like that. I think it's gonna be the exception more than the rule. I don't think it's gonna be that common where mama is saying, you know, check out, oh, that was for me, bring it home. That is gonna create a problem. I think if it was a reoccurring, I'm not uncomfortable with this. I think it's uncomfortable.
Would there be a way for us to monitor it? Really?
Then
probably, I mean,
Yeah.
we would know.
before we get too far in the weeds, Lori, do you know off the top of the head, have we had any card for kids cards?
Not that I can say.
Okay, and how many non-resident cards, do you know?
I have not had anybody choose to pay us.
But if someone came up to you to inquire about this and they had a school-age child, would you then offer them the idea that this other thing is an option and they wouldn't have to pay for it? I mean, because
Provided.
I think that would be
My
a.
head at the time.
Okay,
But yeah, because they usually come and get me when somebody comes in who's not in district or not, you know, so that they could, because most of them can't remember how to do it, so, you know, to figure it out, but, I know, for certain one person that is a Wheaton patron because it's more affordable to get a Wheaton card than it is to get ours, but she wants ours, but she can't afford ours.
That's one of my questions. Is there an estimate about roughly what this annual fee is?
I have seen it between $600 and $800.
Yeah.
See, I had no idea.
Yeah, it was like 700 for my daughter's good friend in high school, and, so I just checked out. Recordings and stuff.
We're paying those taxes.
Yeah.
I mean, we are, but we just don't realize it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was- yeah, and we can, anyone can check out COD. It's interesting.
So Laura, you think that it's a very small number of non-resident cards that are active?
I think,
Like, would you say under 20,
definitely,
under
no, it's
10?
definitely under 10,
Under 10.
might even be.
So we're
under
probably
5.
talking about a very small group of people.
There's.
That's your
for the
thoughts, Jerry.
non-resident taxpayers, I mean, the non-resident fee cards.
Right.
There's a few more that are non-resident taxpayers that own property here, whether it's a house or something that they're leasing. And that's not a very big number.
Well, I can live with this the way it is now, because it's a small numbers. Encouraging people to use the library, and I think Connie made a good point, and Rick also made a good point. If we find, based on feedback from Jason and the management staff, that it's an issue, then we need to go back and revisit it. But at this point, I'm not hearing that there's enough reason for us to go so deep into the weeds right now.
Okay,
What Joey just said,
all right.
it's not that big of an issue right now.
So the way the policy is written right now, students are not required to meet all three of those criteria.
No, they are
They are, so we're proposing that third one should be
stricken. Okay, I will verify. I didn't add it in the notes. I will verify that that is in fact true, that they did, what I said was accurate, that they opened it up so that it's all
Yeah.
students. And if it is, then I will strike item C
Okay.
from the requirement.
I would actually like to have any feedback from any of the department heads. Anybody have anything to add?
I would just piggyback off what Connie said, I would rather see people in the library, using the library, especially kids, getting to that lifelong learner status of being adult users of the library, so I would just say.
Okay, other staff comments?
Yeah, I would agree with what Mary Kelly says. Education is reading for school and reading for life as well. So it brings them into the library, they're reading. things like that.
Other comment?
Recently, and I want to say that's within 5 months or so, my Costco card had to have my photo put onto the back of it so that they could make sure that it was mine, and if it didn't have a photo, then they wouldn't honor it. So that might be something that could be added to the card for the kid involved. That if it got to that point, or a responsible adult or something like that, so it's usually, yep, that's you, and then charge it in. But that, it didn't cost me anything to get that photograph put on there, and it didn't take any time, really, maybe a couple minutes to wait. But it's on the back there, and it just is an extra layer of security, so that if you find somebody that's checking out kids on a card that don't belong to them, you at least got the option of having a picture put on the back of it.
It's a possibility. But we're talking about such a small.
I think it would be a wonderful problem to have that. our
Yeah,
library would
yes.
be too
Yes.
crowded.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, any other staff comments about this?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent.
And I feel like too,
Glad that
if
we're all on the
you've
same
got
page here.
people that appreciate it, then they're gonna see the value of the library as an adult when they do have to pay taxes on it. You know,
And taxes do provide us some things, don't they? All right.
and the last question is the last language, under cardholder responsibilities, it does say a library card is issued to an individual. Shouldn't it also read a library card is issued to an individual or a business, since we are issuing business cards?
Probably.
That makes sense.
Sure,
Okay,
I mean, I guess, yeah, I can add that.
so circling back to what we were just talking about before this last edit, I just want to confirm, Jason, that you should, check on that and then strike that unless it needs, you feel it needs to come back to the group again, but probably you can just move forward with that change. Do we need to vote?
We cannot vote, it is-
Oh,
We have to do that.
These are all
next month.
information this
Information,
month, and then
right.
for
Oh.
voting next month.
Next month,
So I will
excellent.
make the revisions for you to vote on next.
And then I guess the other thing was under replacement library cards, it doesn't talk about the business being able to replace a lost or stolen card. I mean, I know the conditions exist under the business card, but you have replacement library card that they still have to show proof of residency, so.
Well, doesn't that,
So maybe we need to add some verbiage around that.
Yeah.
That's up to you.
Okay. That one
Around
doesn't
business
mention
cards.
individual, it just says library card,
Yeah,
so.
and it,
that's
the
how
business would reside in the town.
Right.
community.
and it does reference.
If they lost one, they get a new number. Isn't it? So then you just flag that as not being an acceptable number, the one that was canceled, it's like a credit card.
Right. Okay. All right, good discussion group. Excellent. Here we go, on to item 10D, public access computers. Anything to say?
Like I said, we were just wanting to make it a little bit easier for access, so it was tied in, like I said, with the library card policy of a parent has to opt out that they don't want their parent or their child to use the internet. And then one of the last section, yeah. Somewhere in here, it said, the restrictions, or I think it maybe referred to the library policy of, if you had fines, then you couldn't use the computers. And,
But that was a good point. that
Yeah.
If you were jobless.
Right.
How would you get out of your
It's an excellent
situation?
point, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that equity teachers were good.
so we made that change, deleted the express station, kind of did more including of internet accessible devices.
I have one little question about this one. With only 2 kids at a computer, I think overall, really good idea. But occasionally, do kids ever, like 3 of them are working on a report together and so you're trying to sit there and do it, could they get permission from the librarian to sit and work together? And I don't know that that has to be written policy, I think you can just get permission from the librarian and do it. It's like, you can't think of all the what ifs and put them down. But
I'm assuming, yeah, if they were working on a project, really needed all 3 of them to be from the computer.
You wouldn't know.
Sure, the staff would.
as long as it's like, hey,
Yes, as long as they can,
You can also
be.
borrow a laptop and go to study hall.
Yeah. There's 3 of them together.
Indeed.
I think that's the reason for the policy.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Where's the express station? Do I remember?
I was like, I don't know, what even know what that
Well, we
is.
haven't had one since I've been here.
Oh,
Can I
well,
get
I
a
don't
blow
think
dry
it
while
was-
I'm
yeah.
there?
I think it was probably pre-COVID when probably the computers
Oh.
were busier. And so if they were all filled up.
Oh, so
then
with
we
a
had-
shorter time period,
Right, so rather than having your hour session, it was probably 10 or
15
20
minutes.
Oh,
minutes.
I
something
never
like
even
that.
I do
knew we
actually
had
remember.
anything like that,
Now it's all coming back.
like a checkout at Jewel.
But now they have not been filled up, so
Hmm.
I don't know how long ago the express stations were awake, but
Don't even remember that.
we don't have them, and they shouldn't be. in the
Of course, I don't
city.
remember
I
that.
remember actually now sitting down at one and being like, what? I have to get off now? Okay. All right, let's move on to item E, library use.
Right.
And this is on page 43.
Yes. Oh, excuse me. So we were just updating some of the language, making sure we're consistently referring to visitors, rather than a member, a user, a visitor, in one place and the other place. So all visitors, and then making our language about ages consistent. We added a few items for prohibited activities, such as entering staff areas.
Yeah,
Fine.
animals, that's a great thing.
Added that, it frequently comes up as topics, directors, listers, and just in general in libraries, so it seemed worth mentioning it. Staff.
That's what I got out of it.
What was that?
I said what I got out of it is you can bring a pony to the library.
Bring a miniature horse.
Oh, okay.
But it has to be a service.
So my little
Has to be a service.
Miniature horses are smaller.
Yeah, we have some on the street.
Well, you can pick one up on your way to the library.
You need
Oh,
the
yeah,
little,
those down-
get the little red vest on it that says service area.
All right, anybody have any other questions or discussion for Jason on this?
One larger point, just to bring up, is so under the section 4, the maintaining a healthy and clean environment, kind of broke them into categories. But the last category is C, the public health emergencies. I just wanted to point out that I took a lot of the wording from our COVID-19 addendum and the COVID-19 mitigation protocols that you added in 2020 and 2022 respectively. And I just figured those are essentially now, I mean, officially, I believe the pandemic is over, so those can probably be, when we go to approve this next month, we can delete those two things, or remove them,
Yeah.
or whatever, the addendums. But I wanted to write it in here just for heaven forbid we have any future things happen, rather than having to all of a sudden suddenly in a panic pivot to try and adapt similar wording that we had for COVID. Just figured if it was written in the policy, then a lot of that work is already done. I mean, who knows what the situation may be, so we still may need to pivot the panic and adapt something new, but I was trying to take what you all established with COVID and write it into the policy, so that it's not just an addendum, but it's just.
Jason, I have to ask you, did you benchmark with other library policies? Because I did get the best laugh out of going barefoot, shirtless, or bottomless.
I actually read that to my husband. I was like, oh.
I was just like, where does it come up with this stuff, or did the
Because
staff
if you
know?
don't specify.
I
will.
never
Yeah.
would've
I was
thought-
picking around at a few other policies, so a few things I did.
I never would have thought I needed to tell someone they had to wear pants.
Well, it's probably for babies, right?
Yeah, but that's not where my mind went.
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, it's a public building, it could be anything.
Yeah, I guess.
What about service animals?
It's not in the policy.
They're already bottomless. All right. All right, moving on to attire.
Sure.
Which is, anybody have any other questions about that? Am I moving too fast? Trying to keep us on the train. All right, attire.
Yes, so, I think back in 2020 with COVID, I think generally the
It's not
department,
casual.
it got casual, we had started allowing jeans, but it was never officially updated in the policy. So we just wanted to make that official. And then just the buildings, logos and names and things. Just a minor tweak to just try and, we're already being casual, but just wanted to make it just that bit more professional.
Well, let's make sure we get bottoms.
So, I just have to say that sorry, I have to go.
On the jeans, do we have to put in there that there's no rips and holes in them?
Exactly where I was going, because this says clothing in bad repair, but those rips and holes are on purpose.
You buy them like that, spend dollars.
Yeah, I really would take exception to people in ripped jeans.
Yes.
Especially depending where they're ripped to, I mean, some of them are.
Yeah.
That's already in there, transparent and all that.
Let's not go
We
there.
really have to.
I mean, we can add that in, the clothing, I can add that to the clothing and bad repair,
It says
No
transparent,
I would say
revealing.
distressed.
but I would say if you
Yes. just
purposely, I mean, bought them in bad repair, then I think
They're still in
objectively
bad
from our
repair, even
end,
if
it's
they're
going to
new.
be, that's in bad repair.
Mhm.
You got holes, so,
Okay,
but I can,
I just want to make sure you're not gonna have somebody come
Yeah.
up saying, this doesn't say that.
Jason,
Yeah.
And then we call it revealing and it's still in there.
Well, I just remember.
Well, I mean,
a few
you
years-
having a hole at your knee is not revealing.
It doesn't
Right,
say
but
what
it
you're
just-
revealing.
what, it depends on the century.
Yeah, good point.
Could be revealed.
I just remember a few years ago going into a store to buy a pair of jeans again, when we had casual days at work, and they looked at me strangely when I said I need ones without holes. And they're
Yeah.
like, but it's fashion, and I'm like, I understand that.
Not where I work.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And,
Back in my day, I worked hard to develop those holes on my own.
right,
I think your sentence
earned
though
them.
about present themselves professionally
Yeah.
leaves that whole thing there, leaves some latitude for management to work through that if it appears.
we actually had somebody that got fired because they consistently wore jeans on the casual days that were ripped. And I mean, well, I'm on the phones, I'm sitting, nobody can see me, but yet, you know, you're gonna walk through the office occasionally and, you know, she was told not to and kept doing it and finally got fired for it, but it was like, or one of the reasons I should say, it may not be the only one.
I know I am guilty. I don't have holes, or when I developed them, I retired them. But I am guilty of, because I have short legs and I have a hard time finding the appropriate length of pants.
Oh, I have this problem.
The hems in my jeans frequently are a little more torn than they should be. So that I need to work on.
We're gonna check the gene hem. Every board meeting.
Okay, I think we've definitely discussed and hired long enough, so let's move on to the director's report. Yay for staff day. Wow, it sounds like it's gonna be packed.
Yes, indeed. I think it'll be a good
What's
day.
for lunch?
And look at this array of things that came out of our
I love that.
3D printer.
Yeah, so we were very excited. The committee's been working on testing it out, printing stuff. Next month, hopefully I'll have a policy for you to look at. But yes, I wanted to bring show and tell. So this came from, we have a Cricut vinyl cutter.
That's
So
amazing.
this came
Very
from
nice.
that, as did a couple of these stickers.
Oh,
So there's a lot of, if you're really creative, there's a lot of different things you can do with the cutting. You can cut different materials, not just vinyl. You can cut paper, you can cut, what else can you cut?
Or
Fabric?
Yeah.
Fabric, foam, as long as it's not too thick.
Yeah.
To fit through it, but so there's a lot of neat things you can do. I mean, you can just make a straight up sticker, you can make inverted things that can be, decals. So like if this was printed backwards because you were gonna stick it on your car window, so then on the other side. But lots of creative things you can do. And then with the 3D printer, make
this is amazing.
cookie cutters, fun little characters and statues. I'm not sure what this is, but one of the filaments we bought is a little more flexible.
It's a
So
fishing lure.
whereas this is the hard plastic, so you can make your cookies, this one actually bends a little. So, which is neat. I can't, what did you got was it a cat
Oh, I
food
know.
lid.
A lid for my cat food can.
So it's a little bit flexible, but so that you can fit it over the cat food.
I could use one of those.
Duncan also made with the flexible filament, made the cord.
You should make a bunch of those and have those for our next giveaway. I'd be very happy.
yeah.
So there's, this is a snowball maker. Scoop up your not a snowball.
Very small.
This is for sandpaper, so you can unscrew it, slip in wrapping around your sandpaper, screw it back on, and now you've got your.
Now, is there a guide or something that tells you about all these things, or did you guys dream all this up?
So there are a couple different sites out there. One is called Thingiverse. I know there's others. I think the brand we bought, Bamboo, probably has some as well.
Yeah.
But there's various places out there where there are lots of, people who posted their projects publicly for anybody to use. So you can, there's no end to the number of things they can do.
Great
So.
acquisition.
Are you going to plan any awareness evening sessions for
Yeah.
describing what this is and how it can be used, or do you expect that everybody's gonna?
Yes, I believe we'll at some point
Promotional.
planning some programming around it. We'll definitely have promotion around it. I believe we're aiming to put it in the summer newsletter. So have it on the website. So we'll
Amazing.
promote it. We want people to use it. So we'll have, we will have an online submission form. The 3D printer is more of a, tell us how to contact you, what, give them options of filament that they want to use, and then they submit their file, and then we just say yay or nay. So it's like, when you see the policy, like there's various things we won't do, like weapons and things like that. I might make a face and go, really? But you can 3D print a gun.
Yeah.
All the various pieces and put it together. And I don't know how that works, but I don't. You can print a workable gun.
Find out.
How about a workable car engine?
You know, I wouldn't put it past somebody.
They're doing that.
Wow.
So, yeah, there's really
Well,
high tech
medical
folks are doing some really neat things with it, so.
Yeah.
But so anyway, so then we would just let you know how much it'll cost, because we'll have a small cost associated with it. For the vinyl cutter, since, then we'll do the printing of the 3D printer object. For the vinyl cutter, it'll be more of making an appointment with the librarian or one of the staff to work out what it is your project is. Initially, we want to be the ones operating the equipment, but they can be there, do the project there. So the vinyl cutter one those projects should hopefully be able to be worked through and manufactured, produced, that's the word, in one sitting, as opposed to when they submit us the 3D printer file, might take, depending on the size of the project, it might take 30 minutes, it might take 2 hours. So it's not necessarily something that they're going to sit there for. But our goal is we have a cart that the equipment can sit on out at the desk, which will also be part of the promotion, so that you can watch the 3D printer work, because it's really fascinating. So.
What is the life expectancy of a 3D printer?
Duncan?
And this is coming next, do we need to purchase some type of warranty or service program? Because I anticipate great use out of this.
I hope so.
And, I don't want to find out a year from now. We need another one because.
It should last longer than that.
Yeah. I'm just curious.
At my last library, they lasted several years before, eventually Golden Park had a grant from the state, which allowed us to just, they've in 3 years time, they have greatly improved the technology already.
Yes.
So like I could buy a better, bigger one. And so, but the ones that we had just kept lasting. And
Okay.
you were using it pretty continuously. So I think they do last a fairly long time, although they certainly have a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
So
I just was curious.
I think as long as we're taking good care of it and cleaning it and making sure it's.
Well, it sounds like we will have responsibility as opposed to the members. And
Correct.
that's going to solve a lot of problems right there.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Excited.
I'm beyond it.
You can tell we've made a lot of fun things, so.
Can we put in a request for practice, people who need to practice, they can do our request?
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah, if you think you know of something that you want to test out, send it our way.
All right, anything else from your report? Lieutenant?
So, this outreach, tomorrow I'm being interviewed by a teenager from the outreach Warrenville, to do a youth assessment for the community, so excited for that.
Very good.
So what new requirements for reporting independent contractors?
Oh, so they. Currently, anybody we pay over, is it $600 in a year, our accountant will fill out and get sent to them the 1099 forms. But the state is now wanting anybody that we contract to be considered as a new employee, and we have to report them that we have paid them. It doesn't matter if we paid them $10, we still have to report them as an independent contractor. I think from the memo from the library organizations was that the goal of it is there are apparently some folks out there. It seems related to like, no, like, child
support.
support payments, alimony.
Oh.
That there are people who are making this money, but they're not paying
Tax.
their child support.
Yes.
And so I don't know why that all of a sudden becomes our responsibility, but they're
Somebody's
making
got-
it our responsibility, and now we have to do all this reporting of no matter how much we pay somebody, we have to report it so that then they know that they have earned money from us. So, but we worked out, we've got a spreadsheet to kind of track that, and Paul will then just be asking when he hires performers and whatnot, asking if they have that the tax identification number, or if they don't, because if they have that, then they are their own organization, and I don't. Now all of a sudden, I'm forgetting the details. But regardless, we worked out.
FEIN number. Oh, yeah.
Oh, then they're a business, so
Yeah.
not a independent contractor, so then we don't have to do anything, but if they don't have that and they just have a social security number, then we have to report them. as
Do we
the-
use a large number of independent contractors?
Yeah.
Oh, that's what, that, okay, I didn't consider that, good point.
Because they're not an official business per
Yeah,
se,
but
they're just an individual then.
I got it. Okay. I'm thinking services.
So we worked out the details, so it should be easy to comply, and
Fees.
it's just an additional kind of thing.
Amazing. Okay. Anything else? I love this little picture of a bulletin board.
I do too.
Oh, yeah.
So too.
Thanks for sharing that. All right, now we're on to the department head reports. Did any of the library trustees have any comments or questions for any of our departments? There's a lot going on.
I was just gonna say, my only comment is, I'm always tired after I read all these. You guys are just working so hard, and believe me, I know, I think I can speak for the entire board. Your efforts are much appreciated. Thank you for all your hard work. A lot of work that goes on. Spiritual.
Yes.
You talk about a niche academy staying relevant in the library profession. I should think that that would be a course all by itself.
I wouldn't recommend it, even for those folks in the library profession. It was not very informative. I didn't think it was not what I anticipated. It wasn't what I had hoped for. Niche Academy does offer a lot of new things. That was not one of them. And
I hope you gave them that feedback.
Don't
our
hold it up.
comment says, would you recommend this course? And I believe I said no, or maybe, but it was not what it was cracked up to be.
And the second one is, what's a Moodle course? that
Oh, that
Rails
is
putting
through
out?
Rails. Moodle is the interface that they use. It's the cataloging course was cataloging using an RDA toolkit, because they have a new toolkit that's out, which has been a lot of talk about the new toolkit. But the Moodle is just the interface that they use, and it was split up into four weeks, and I did complete that 16th, and I got my certificate on the 19th of this month. So, but I did the first two portions of it in January.
But there's so many new initiatives on here. This Tech to Go, I can't wait to see how that really rolls out. I think that's excellent. And speaking of tech, I thought it was this the first time we offered the computer classes in Spanish? Because that was great. But 9 people is a pretty hefty number, so.
Yeah, we capped it at 10, so it's almost full every single month.
That's great. I missed that. And Kathy, I'm glad to see the safety committee and the logo designers.
What are we gonna start seeing that logo on things.
Not to be too specific.
Well, that's library week, right? Yeah, excellent.
What is a picnic role?
In charge.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And we need the documents as part of. That would give a general outline of what the pick does.
So, I mean, I know that, I guess I was curious what, say if we were having a meeting, but do we have an evacuation procedure back up for that? I mean, I realize we've got that exit and, you know, but I didn't know if we were gonna have any sort of queue for trustees.
Sure. We are right at the point, staff, hopefully within 2 or 3 days, we will be getting an updated emergency evacuation instructions that will include updated maps. We've had, of all the things we've had prior to safety committee, that was always pretty up there, like taking, you know, how do we get out of here? What do we do for tornado, for going downstairs? The other reasons why we would evacuation. So we've updated that a bit, well, probably more than a bit, for as part of safety committee. We had the fire marshal here, the fire inspector. We did a walkthrough earlier in February, and based on some learning from that, we're
Lots of good work going on. Anybody else have any questions or discussion topics for this?
I was curious, with everything we're doing for teens, are we seeing an uptick? Is it slowly increasing? Or are we
It's
just
still-
seeing?
Still very good, and it's something did really well. The monthly ones, do have decent participation. Dungeons and Dragons is a huge hit, and we're all into its own thing. It's very consistent, and it's kind of like the regular 1,000 pages, and it is like 2 or 3 every single month. We have like events like the which those are popular. So it's like that I believe the age group is very busy. It's hard to get here.
Yeah, because everything's spread out. Probably too hard to do any sort of outreach programs because at the point that you want to is when they're all in school and like again doing homework or whatever, not necessarily being able to.
People often
You're doing an interview tomorrow with outreach. There, I mean, years ago when I was teaching, there was a component, the Quest program, you know, the kids, and I wondered if, do they have a newsletter or anything like to share are our programs being purposefully shared with the Quest or whatever youth program is going on at Youth Outreach now? Because that's a nice population that needs to, but you're probably already doing this.
it is, yeah. Maybe not also time like early meetings over there. They are looking for mentors right now, for people with multiple backgrounds. Volunteering sometimes, but it's not really mentoring. It's more like considering for yourself a translate that with a lot of different people. And see what their views are.
What is the purpose of the interview? Is it just to hear about what your work is?
Essentially, and how they influence to in the field.
Okay.
Um,
All right, gonna keep moving on in our agenda here. Gonna move on to the president's report and just, to say that our next board meeting is on Wednesday, March 20th. And then we have a committee of the whole meeting the following month on April 17th for our first, look at the
I
budget.
bet you can't wait, Jason. It's already here again.
He's back down.
Yeah, this will be easy compared to.
Yes.
I'll, you know, I will not be in town on the 17th.
Neither will I.
Okay,
Sorry.
We've got a month to let us know.
you'll
Anybody
also
else?
have access to the budget, so if you have questions, you could email me for any questions
Okay.
you want. I want to have answered, or email Jason.
I'll be there,
I will be there. as well.
unless I win the lottery.
Then we lose you?
I'll be on it, I'll be buying it.
Hey, Sandy, treasurer's report.
Oh, yes, we received a nice donation
Yes,
to the foundation from a resident.
How lovely.
I like the
Yeah.
amount. I wonder where that was from.
93
yeah.
cents. There's 93 cents in it.
Yeah, it's a kind of odd number,
It was a donation of a stock.
Oh, so.
So
Oh, there,
however it got
okay.
liquidated is
Because
that.
I'm like,
that would make sense.
I'm
then.
right on
It's
the
kind of
check.
strange, but you know.
Sorry,
the
I-
dollar amount.
I forgot to add that
93
detail,
cents.
sorry.
But yeah, which was really nice though that they gave it to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Everything else good?
Yeah, everything else looks good.
Treasurer? Okay, excellent. You have anything to report? Okay. Committee reports. We've got trustees Richardson and Warren who were appointed to the personnel committee. So we need to start that process to get the director's evaluation. Good with that?
Yep.
All right.
How does that process work?
I was just gonna say, Jason wanted to recap.
We generally have a questionnaire that is sent out to everybody, and then it gets compiled. And then from you, and then we give a shot to it.
And then there's also a not
Yeah.
self-evaluation.
Yeah,
He
self-evaluation.
needs to complete,
Yeah.
evaluation.
Do you have those forms or do I?
Well, it's not an actual form, it was basically a format that Sandy
Yeah.
used to follow. So,
I would think there's a file folder, because we spent time a couple years ago before COVID redoing all that, remember?
we did, I'm not sure, did we have a format for the self-evaluation?
I think
Because there
so.
were certain sections I thought, so it covered, you know, different aspects of director's role or whatever.
Okay.
All right.
It's not a lot of narrative, it's more of a selection of your assessment of where you are on a scale. And then your goals.
Right, so one thing that we didn't ask you to do last year, at least I don't believe that we did, because we were so new. And you needed to kind of find your legs here. Sandy would choose 3 goals for the coming year and then report back on them. So you
Okay.
haven't done that, so you're gonna need to choose three goals for the following year that you'll be reporting back on in a year. Okay, so you'll be like, okay, these are 3 things that I really want to focus on. All right?
What software?
And that was part of her self-evaluation to
Yeah.
discuss those goals.
She does, that's how she did our goals.
I did have big goals that you all approved.
You did make.
I did. I think I
Yeah, I remember.
added too many. I think I had 5 instead of 3.
Overambitious.
So that would be a good place to start with your self-evaluation.
Yeah, exactly.
So then I should have that. So then the form that you all are filling out, is that something you have or is
Yeah.
that?
We have that,
Okay,
and it is
So you'll
distributed
distribute
to each of the trustees separately, and then we have a chance to compile the results, the people on the committee compile the results, and then it's shared with, in closed session with, the board.
Once I complete the self-evaluation, send it to,
There, you,
I compiled it for the last couple of years.
okay,
No,
You have to
he's
relearn how
trying-
to
no,
do
not
it.
the self-evaluation, you compiled the
The-
survey.
The survey, yeah.
But Jason is referring to his evaluation. He wanted to know who he sends that to.
There is also an aspect of the department heads, I believe, having,
We haven't done that.
Eliminated that.
That was eliminated, I think.
that was,
I have a file, I'll pull it,
I'm pretty sure I do too.
Take a
I'm
look
gonna
at
need to
refresh my
dive in,
memory.
because we were the ones that were working on that.
You guys used to use Survey Monkey.
Yes, we did.
Mhm.
That's how you did it.
And it's open for a couple of.
so and then the timeline for that is,
So I believe that we do that before we have our final budget, approving, before we finally approve our budget, because that's tied to your.
So I thought that the forms were distributed in April, and then we had to have them back like within 2 weeks or something, and then the results were, you know, at the May meeting, we discussed.
Just see if I can something that has to be done something in the last 2 weeks of April.
I'm gonna need to do some digging. So
Yeah, I'm not, I saw that and I just didn't have time to find that file.
Okay.
These ones we read.
Timeline? I'm pretty sure we have the timeline in our documents.
Can you let me know, Barb, because I'm not gonna be here half of April.
So you won't be here for
If
the
I'm on
17th.
this committee.
Yes, and we can
No,
step things up. Just if we need to. Yeah, we'll move it around to accommodate. Okay. We're at trustee comments.
I have two comments. I first want to say that I think the offerings for this, what I would call the spring programs in the brochure that just came out are amazing. I'm not sure where you guys are coming up with this stuff, but fantastic job. And then I also want to say, I haven't said it lately, I very much like having a management team here. I know it disrupts your schedule, but it's very helpful to have you here and able to interface with you and get to know you better and understand where you're moving. And my last thing, Jason, is our lawyer on retainer, or are we paying him by the hour? I just wondered whether when we look at the budget, because we are referring more and more things, we're gonna be going through the policies and going through the handbook. There's things like both those intergovernmental agreements had to be run by the lawyer. I'm just wondering whether a retainer would be more cost effective. That was one thing that came to my mind. So just a thought. Because you know me, I'm all about money. That's my job. But
unless something more comes up, I believe we'll still be under what we budgeted for.
no, I'm just saying as we get into the policies and the personnel and the job description, some of those things may come up that we want a lawyer to review. So I was curious how we pay the lawyer.
I mean, I know a retainer would be an upfront amount, and it would just be docketed, you know.
You pay a yearly retainer, and then you have, most of them have unlimited. So it might be more expensive. Roger may charge more than we're doing now. It just crossed my mind.
Ian, weren't you guys gonna go through HR sources? as well?
Yeah, HR sources, we have membership with it, they have attorneys there. Excuse me, they're gonna, we are probably gonna send the handbook up to them, Jason's coming.
That's one thing.
Yeah, not in the budget already.
Okay, so that's fine.
Yeah.
But we still have the policies. They don't do our library policies if we needed any of that
More
reviewed.
of HR, like.
H- Thank you.
Sandy,
I did notice like in, thing here, you were talking about EV charging in the parking lot. And there's a new EV rebate program from ComEd
Oh, which reminds me.
that maybe look into, and it's including public sector stuff.
Okay.
So.
that'd be cool.
Yeah,
Have an EV
just got it
charger.
a couple days ago, so.
And Jason, there is that one of the office buildings I ran down the street. We put an EV station in, and the engineer who helped with it is still there, so.
Okay.
If specific questions.
Because I really like when I bring the grandkids in and plug the car in. That would really be nice. But I mean, it's on a, we've talked about doing it, so it might be worthwhile to see, we can get some money.
Well, and the use is only gonna keep going up.
Yes,
For sure.
yeah.
So
Might
it'd
as
be
well be
nice to
ahead of the
be
game.
in front of that instead of behind it.
And people are at the library for like the time, so it makes sense to have it here.
Okay. All right, good. All right, I think we are at the end. Can I hear a motion?
I'll move to adjourn the meeting tonight.
Second.
Motion was made by Connie Schmidt and seconded by trustee Warren and trustee Lazan.
Everybody
All in
seconded.
favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned.
8:19 PM.
They did just put it.